I think that the most important thing is to overcome the fear of positive thinking. I think that, I was thinking about somebody I know, a person. I don't mention people's names, but I'm thinking about somebody I used to work with. And that person, one time I said that, I said that the world that we live in is perfect. And I mean it in a very particular way, in which I mean perfect. The world really is perfect. It's perfect in the sense that this is all that there is. Perfect doesn't mean that everything is to our liking, that we like everything and that everything is happening the way we wish it would happen. That's not what I mean when I say perfect. But the world is perfect because it's the only way it can be. It is all that it could be. That's what I mean when I say perfect. And this person was like, oh, they were just getting all, like pointing out to me the typical things that people would point out if you say it, the world is perfect. If you don't believe me, experiment. Tell somebody, the world we live in is perfect. Just say that with no qualifiers, no other thing to it. Just say the world we live in is perfect. What are they going to tell you? You know ahead of time. They're going to point out all the wars going on and all the things. They're going to point out the recent earthquake in Haiti. They're going to point out so many things, the diseases and the, what's going on over in Afghanistan and the terrorism and people starving to death and the crime rate and about the economy. They're going to point out all those things. And those things will become proof that the world really isn't perfect. Because if the world were perfect, things like that wouldn't happen. And if I stick to my ideal, or if you stick to your ideal that the world is perfect, or stick to that thing, and just without even saying it, say, despite all those things, the world is still perfect. Yeah, people will look at you like you crazy, because their ideal of perfect means that the world should have only things in it that I like. A perfect world would be a world that has nothing but things that you like, things that bring you pleasure and joy. That's why, basically, every religion creates some version of heaven. They may call it a different name. It could be some type of utopia of a type. It could be nirvana as in Buddhism, or it could be heaven as in Christian and Muslim religion and Jewish religion. It could be the earthly paradises the Jehovah's Witnesses believe, because only a few people go to heaven. They do believe there's such a thing as heaven, but only a small number of people. But the other good people will be on the earthly paradise, whatever you want to call it. It's some really pleasant place where nothing but good things happen. And that's the perfect world. But my argument is the world is perfect. Perfect doesn't mean pleasant. It doesn't mean pleasant or pleasure. It just means that the world is what it is. It couldn't have been any other way. It could only be this way. It's perfect. People have a hard time with that word. And when I say it, I know it will provoke a fight or an argument. I don't argue with people. I just say it and let people think I'm crazy. Because people do think I'm crazy when I say that. When I say the world is perfect. And everyone in the world is perfect. And people, again, will point out why everybody isn't perfect. They will point out imperfections in themselves. They will point out imperfections in me. Look at one imperfection. I'm diabetic. If I were perfect, I wouldn't be diabetic. If I were perfect, I'd be a lot smarter than I am. If I were perfect, I'd be richer than I am. People can point out imperfections. But are those really imperfections? You can look at things and see how things can be better. And there's always ways you can make things better. So the ideal is if something can be better, then it's not perfect. That's proof that something isn't perfect. But my argument is that fact that you can look at something and see that something could be better is part of the perfection. What's wrong with using the word perfect? Perfect. I like that word. It's a good word.